What's up, guys? I want a six pack here, and I want to talk to you guys about something that probably doesn't get talked about nearly enough. In today's fitness world, everybody's talking about protein. Protein this, protein that. There's nothing wrong with talking about protein. Protein is a very important macronutrient, specifically when it comes to losing weight and developing muscle. But what about the other stuff? The other macronutrients are fat and carbohydrates. Now, over the years, carbohydrates have become kind of this taboo subject. So taboo that people avoid them at all costs. There's all these diets out there that people reduce their carbohydrates down to almost nothing and even get rid of their carbohydrates. And that's very dangerous because carbohydrates are extremely important to also aid in weight loss and just regular body function. Now, on the side of fats, fats are extremely important. They lubricate our joints, they help our brains work better, they do all sorts of stuff just to make sure that our bodies are functioning the right way. So when I talk about the different processes that go on inside the body, I like to talk about the things that are a lot more technical in terms that everyone can understand. I often talk about the body as if it was a highly efficient child, because children typically do things out of impulse. But the body is an extremely efficient machine that knows exactly what to do when you give it the right things. So today I don't want to talk about protein. That's been talked about a lot, and I'm sure we're going to revisit it. I want to talk about carbohydrates and body fat and how those two things work together to help you get the six pack that you want. So for this discussion, I'm going to use this red potato to talk about carbohydrates. And body fat will be represented by this bag of string. It's the only thing I had, and it's going to do just fine to serve its purpose. When you first start losing weight, you start working out, you're starting to eat better, one of the first things that people will do is make sure that they're reducing their carbohydrate intake. I know that I mentioned before that this can be dangerous if you go too low, but it is a very essential part of starting the weight loss process. Carbohydrates are actually your body's favorite form of fuel. We love carbs because they're very inexpensive, they're easy to find, and they basically make us feel good on a chemical level. The problem with carbohydrates is just like anything else, if you don't control your intake, it's going to go out of control. And carbohydrates have a tendency to turn into sugars inside the body, which eventually get synthesized into fat, which is then stored and makes us get bigger and less healthy. Fat, body fat, is actually another really great source of fuel for our bodies. The problem is, if we have too many carbohydrates in our diet, our body has no reason to use our fat as fuel. You couple that with not working out, not living a very active lifestyle, those carbohydrates are going to just work toward making more body fat. That body fat is going to start covering your internal organs, which eventually will lead to a lot of disease and, unfortunately, eventual death. That's not what we want. What you want to do when you're starting to lose weight is you want to know what carbohydrates are best for you. This is a list of some of the best carbohydrates that you can take. Take a look at it. Some of it is stuff that you probably eat, some of it isn't. The key is to concentrate on carbohydrates that are very low glycemic. So it means they don't raise your blood sugar very high, they don't spike it. When your blood sugar spikes, there's an actual counter reaction in the body that causes you to burn less calories. In fact, if your blood sugar spikes enough, you could literally burn no calories for the rest of the day, no matter what you do. So it's very important that you watch your carbohydrate intake at every meal of the day. So when you reduce your carbohydrates per day, per meal, your body starts to get used to the fact that it's not getting its favorite form of fuel, but it has to do something. Our bodies are extremely efficient at two things: survival and reproduction. Obviously, we're not talking about reproduction, so let's just talk about survival. When your body notices that it's not getting its favorite form of fuel in carbohydrates as much as it was, it's going to look to its next favorite form of fuel, which is your body fat. That's a good thing. When you start using your body fat as your main source of fuel, you're going to notice a couple things. One, body fat is a really efficient form of fuel. You're going to notice that after a while, your body will get used to not having the carbohydrates, and you're going to have more than enough energy to get through your workouts, to get through the day, to just keep going. After a long enough time of consistent controlling your carbohydrate intake, you're going to start noticing your body fat percentage decreasing. Your body will start eating its own fat to give you enough fuel to operate, to give you enough fuel to do your workouts. Now, this is when things get a little tricky. And this is where a lot of people tend to kind of fall off the wagon and fall off their plan. After you've been using your body fat as fuel for long enough, your body fat percentage will drop and drop and drop and drop, slowly but surely, until you get to a certain point where it stops dropping. Remember earlier I said that the body is efficient at two things. We're talking about survival. You need your body fat to protect your body as well. In fact, the midsection is the last part of your body to get rid of body fat because that body fat protects your internal organs. When your body fat percentage gets low enough, your body says, hey, I need to protect myself, so I don't want to start using all of this fat that I have in this section here as fuel. I want to save this for protection so that I can survive. So how do you get past that? It may seem a little counterintuitive, but all you have to do is reintroduce your carbohydrates. Well, now we reintroduce what it wants most, and it no longer needs to rely on that body fat. As long as you control your carbohydrate intake from that point on and make sure you don't overdo it like it was done in the past, your body will work highly efficiently at this point and continue to lean out. And that is how you get the six-pack. So for more great tips like this, for healthy recipes, for just great motivation, please keep following me on I Want a Six-Pack on Instagram, and also I Want a Six-Pack on Facebook. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Have a great day, and let's get that six-pack.